on, Rez. Right, good evening, everybody. You've had the pleasure to meet me today. My name's Rob, and I have the honour of being Paul's best man on this very special day. This is probably the biggest day of my life, so I'd like to thank you all for coming. Firstly, before the character assassination of the groom begins, can I just say a huge, huge thank you to the three beautiful bridesmaids, Emily, Lisa, their roles so graceful. I'd like to say how wonderful the wedding has been so far, and now we have gathered to witness such a stunning bride in Karen. I'm sure you all agree that she looks absolutely beautiful today. And I'd like to give you a round of applause. Now that's over, all the women can lift their drawers and the men can stop thinking about being their special day. The final thanks to Derek and Sue for hosting such a special occasion. Thank you so much. Today is a day that many of us, especially Karen, thought might never happen, but more about Paul being a tight arse later. Now, I've known Paul for pushing on 16 years, and the beginning of this time was set to set the precedence for a mischievous life. Full of laughter, full of adventures, and most importantly for Paul, full of women. I wouldn't like to embarrass Paul on this special day by going through all the names of his teenage loves, so I decided to put them in alphabetical order. And this is all I can fit in my suitcase. Many years ago, Paul was spent being fueled illegally and underage with alcohol provided by no other than Nick. What a great example. And as such, there arose a present from Nick to the boys. The beloved Dumpy was born. Religiously, every Friday after school, we all used to meet at the Sweck household and consuming twice our body weight in the French brewed Dumpy. Unfortunately, the night didn't end there. More excitement was in store for a gang of law-abiding youths down at the park, more affectionately known as Albany. Some of you may not be aware, but half of the house is and half of the house isn't, but you have to bear with me on that, unfortunately. This was the same for many drunken affairs in our teenage years. Now, I was thinking long and hard, and even got the ushers, Phil and Grant, involved in this discussion. And trying to retrieve a story about Paul that I could recite to you all, that you'd kind of laugh about and take it in and understand his childhood. But we all came to the conclusion that it wasn't in fact Paul getting into trouble. It wasn't causing havoc, it wasn't smashing things up like your average teenager, oh no. But for Paul was the mastermind, the fuel behind the fire. Standing back and watching things unfold. From a very young age, this boy had unique talents for his own humour and sheer genius to get his kicks from watching others fall into the pitfalls of growing up. Now, Paul's antics didn't stop there on the social scene. Quite often he'd take them home with him. It wasn't until Nick got a phone call at 8 o'clock one Sunday morning, informing him that Paul was lying face down after coming off his bike during the morning paper round. Nick being the ever-loving father, pissed as a fart. Paul was pissed as a fart from like four. What he would achieve at success, I hear you asked. Paul loved a little dash of white lightning in his early days. Another legend in itself, and to this day, Paul can't even sniff a cider without seeing the sight of Nick bending over him all blurry-eyed. Finding that lawn outside someone's neighbourhood, and half of the paper's not delivered. What the hell is going on? Oh, he did. Have a little snooze afterwards. As some of you are aware, Paul grew up with 3 sisters. I mean, 2 sisters. And 1 brother. Sorry, Dane, easy mistake. This is a task Paul relished. Relentless bullying, scheming and torturing. And it's fair to say he held his own. I mean, if you drove past the family home 10 years ago, you'll probably find Donna and Sarah holding onto the garage door for dear life, whilst a barrel load of laughter would echo around the street, coupled with Paul opening and shutting the garage door. They're hanging on. They're hanging on. He's there, loving it, smashing it down, up, down, laughing with all his might. This is the torture phase for Paul. The scheming came into its own on a family holiday where Paul decided to borrow one of the kids' bodyboards. Wouldn't let anyone else have a go. Donna, Sarah, ask it. No, it's mine, it's mine. Realised he'd snapped it and handed it to Donna. Donna, poor old Donna, overjoyed, ran into the sea, officially snapped the board, and got a whole world of pain from Mum, Dad, Paul, Dean. Dean decided to pipe up all this. Now this is clearly Donna's fault. Tears pursued, whilst young Paul was sniggering away in the background. Moving on from that, right? When we got to 15, 16, me and Paul were kind of in about a 6-month discussion, building up to GCSEs, and we both decided to join the military. Paul, for his sins, decided to go into some I don't know what it is, but he looks brilliant. Absolutely gorgeous. Both, yeah. I was to join the senior service. Paul decided to turn himself into some kind of Rainiers in uniform, where no one could see you apart from your hand and your heads. We both relished the opportunity before us, unbeknown of what the future held. Well, let me tell you, it took me 11 years to devise an escape plan. But seriously, I'm very proud of Paul and all he's achieved in his army career. No one can prepare you for the experiences he's been through and the achievements made so far, so it's fair to say this prison sentence has served him well. A now changed Paul, an army man, a fighting soldier, can hold his head high, serving Queen and country, and being a truly lucky man indeed to marry such a beautiful person in Karen. This brings me on to say a few words about our stunning bride. Having not spent my schooling years knowing Karen, it was clear from the start she was a loving person. Kind, caring and thoughtful, and this became apparent to me personally on a typical Friday or Saturday night in our beloved town of Sittingbourne. And after a skinful of beverages, she would start beating me, pinching me, and biting me all the way to the nightclub. Nice to meet you too, Karen. That was yeah, this is my girlfriend. This is Rob. Thank you for that. And once my headache had drifted and the alcohol wore off on those dreaded Sunday mornings, all that I'd be left with was aches, pains and bruises. However, beyond the drunkenness, I could not have wished for Paul to meet and marry anyone else. Because I'm sure you'll all agree, Karen is very witty, very thoughtful, driven and loyal, and I'm absolutely certain she will make the most perfect wife for Paul. From the very beginning of Paul and Karen's relationship, it was easy to spot they would be together forever. They both knew their love for one another. They both knew how to make each other laugh and grow in one another's company. And I know from first-hand experience just how tough life in the military can be. And as an overlooking friend, I can honestly say how very proud I am of both of them for breezing through a sometimes unpredictable lifestyle. They really are an inspiration to every single one of us. Traditionally, as the best man, I'm supposed to give you a few final words of advice, the bride and groom, on how to live in peace and harmony with each other for the rest of your lives. However, instead I found a few dedicated quotes. Karen, men are like a fine wine. They start out like grapes and it is your job to stamp them in the dark until they mature into something you would like to have dinner with. Paul, women are also like a fine wine. They start out fresh, fruity, and intoxicating to the mind, and then turn full and bodied with age until they go all sour and vinegary. Eventually giving you a massive headache. A final thought for everyone. One good husband is worth 2 good wives. For the scarcer things are, the more they are valued. To the brave both of you. You mean the absolute world to me, and I'm truly honoured to have been given the opportunity to play such a part in your big day. I wish you both every happiness together.
Okay. God.
And finally, on behalf of the bride and groom, I'd like to thank you all for sharing their day, and it gives me immense pleasure to invite you all to stand. 2 seconds. And raise your glasses in a toast. Karen and Paul! Mr. and Mrs.
Karen and Paul!